Happy Friday! We made it to the weekend. Well, not quite. One more day. So if you stand on your tiptoes, you can see the weekend from here. I'm Dan Kuntz. It's Friday, the 10th day of July in 2020. This is Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, and we got a jam-packed show for you today. Lots of stuff to get to. Nice weather today. Borderline hot tomorrow. Windy tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow night. Sunday, much cooler, and then a gradual warming trend coming our way. A summertime forecast is coming up, although it's been cooler than normal summer. Yesterday's high was 80 degrees. Normally our high would be 86. So the question is, how many days have we reached our normal high temperature during this month of July? And the answer is 1. That was Monday. We hit 85 on Monday, which was the normal high for Monday. Outside of that, every day during the month of July, we've had cooler than normal temperatures. It's going to change next week. Details are coming up. A lot of news to get to. A lot of sports to get to. Continued uncertainty for the upcoming fall season all over the board. We'll talk about that. And we have the obscure holiday today in history, some celebrity birthdays, an opinion from Mike Mignotti coming your way. And you may have received the mailer from Confluence Health. If you haven't, you might not get one. They mailed them out earlier in the week. They're asking residents of the North Central Washington area to submit to random testing for coronavirus. They want to set a baseline to figure out where we're at, and they sent them out to random households all over the area. And to that end, we're going to replay the interview that I did with Dr. Stu Freed, who is the Chief Medical Officer of Confluence Health. So if you got one of those flyers in the mail, he's going to give you some information and all the important stuff you need to know as we continue to battle the COVID-19 pandemic. My conversation with Stu Freed will air in the back half of the program. A couple minutes after the hour, let's begin our tour with the cross camera, which always begins our festivities. It's looking like it's pointing a little bit more towards East Wenatchee, not really by much. Zoomed in a little bit, too, as you can see. But a beautiful sunrise happened at 5:15 this morning. Sunset 8:57. Days are getting shorter. 15 hours and 42 minutes of daylight. The longest day of the year, we had 15 hours and 58 minutes of daylight. So we've lost 16 minutes of daylight since June 21st. But, hey, it's summertime. The living is easy. The fish are jumping. You know that stuff. Good morning to the Wenatchee Valley. We are looking good on a good-looking Friday. From this point forward, of course, Megan gets to decide, and she says we're off to the Coles Corner camera. Hey, I got that one right. I know the camera, I just can never remember the name of the darn thing, the Coles Corner camera. Now, off to your right, you can see where some of the clear-cut logging has been done over the years near Lake Wenatchee, and you can see some of, actually, you can even see some of the logging roads down there as well. And of course, now we have a brand new camera in that general location. That's in another ridge, one ridge over from what we're looking at there, but it's a beautiful view from up in Coles Corner. They got a few clouds hanging around up there, not down here in the valley, but you can see there's a couple of clouds in the greater Lake Wenatchee area, but most folks will be dealing with quite a bit of sunshine today. Sun never really made it out much yesterday, did it? Camera number 3. Good morning to Omi Gardens, Rocky Ridge Dam to the upper left-hand corner of your screen. Looks like just a couple of spillways are open. About a month ago, a bunch of spillways were open as we kept getting all of that melted snow from British Columbia coming down and pay us a visit. You can see the Baker Flats Industrial Park, the orchards, the new trail that was put in a few years back that takes you from the Uravashing Bridge up to the dam. Beautiful stuff there. Nicely done. Good view from Omi Gardens, looking to the north along the Columbia River. Camera number 4. We say hello to, well, it's that's Lake Chelan. The question is, what camera is that? And I want to say Bear Mountain. Hey, the Bear Mountain camera. So mostly what we're looking at over there is Manson, and farther up towards Holden Village and Stehekin. We have another camera on this side of the Columbia, of Lake Chelan, that goes farther up the ridge. I can't remember the name of it. We haven't used that one in a long time. Might be out of order, for all I know, but the Sky-Fi system is humming right along, and that's how it works. You can get screaming fast internet to your home. You don't have to have fiber. All you have to do is be able to see one of our Sky-Fi towers from your cabin or your house, or whatever the case may be. Give a local telecall. They'll set you up. Good morning, Lake Chelan. Hope you have a good weekend. Although the lake is going to be real bumpy on Saturday afternoon and early Saturday evening, because we're in for some wind. Going to be very dry and very windy this weekend. Of course, that means, well, any fires that can get going can really get going. Of course, an increased fire danger. The fuels, of course, have dried out. You talk about that with relative humidity levels way down there, like in the teens, and temperatures very warm. The area fuels have been dried out. Anything that gets going gets going. And as far as the wind is concerned, here's your timeline for tomorrow. It'll start picking up in intensity early in the afternoon. And finally, the sustained winds of about 20 miles an hour with gusts above 30 miles an hour will start about 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. It'll last until about 2 or 3 in the morning on Sunday. So that gradient's going to tighten up, and we're going to have some pretty breezy conditions on Saturday night. Keep your fingers crossed. But it's going to be warm on Saturday. Could be the warmest day of the year. The warmest day of the year we've had so far is 94. We're going to be close to that, about 93, we're told, on Saturday, but again, quite windy at times. And then we have a big drop down. But look where you live, that's your forecast high temperature for Saturday. You know where this heat's coming from? The desert Southwest. You know, it's been like 115 degrees in Phoenix. That's actually nudged its way northward, which is why our temperatures are going to be a good 5 or 6 degrees warmer tomorrow than today. That's impressive. 115 in Phoenix. I've been to Phoenix. It's hot. Ugh. Scorching stuff. So there you go. There's your Saturday maximum high temperatures. All right, Patriot Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling gives your home a hug. Here is your forecast. Sunshine today, and a lot of it, no real wind, just about perfect. Sunny, warm, not hot, high of about 88 degrees. Clear for the overnight low tonight. 60 is the overnight low. 93, as we mentioned before, on Saturday. Saturday afternoon is when the wind picks up. By late Saturday afternoon, 4, 5, 6 o'clock. Pretty strong sustained winds blowing west to east at about 20 miles an hour, gusts above 30 at times on Saturday afternoon. And of course, we'll be up at the Wenatchee Valley Super Oval, and Fancher Heights is always susceptible to stronger winds than the valley floor. High of 93. Breezy Saturday night, overnight low of about 60. Cold fronts coming in Saturday night. That's what's going on, which is why we're going to drop way down from 93 on Saturday to just 81 on Sunday. But that's an anomaly. Cold front leaves by Sunday night, and then we start the warming trend. 85 to 87 to 87 to 88. Ridge of high pressure is going to build up. The first real significant, strong ridge of high pressure this summer, which is something that we normally have every year. A big dome of high pressure builds up, prevents any kind of system from paying us a visit, and we start cooking. And we are going to start cooking come Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. So that's your forecast at just about 8 minutes after the hour. There's a lot of news to get to, so we're going to take a quick 1-minute break and then come back and fill your head full of the information you need to get your Friday going. The news is 1 minute away. You're watching Wake Up in Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Live channel.
Hi, my name is Manuel Navarro, Chief Operating Officer at Columbia Valley Community Health. Patient safety is our top priority, including providing care that just can't wait. With enhanced safety precautions, we want to ensure you that we're able to continue providing safe and efficient in-person care at our clinic. From in-car check-in, ongoing screening, immediate rooming, your family can get the safe care that they deserve here at Columbia Valley Community Health.
What's your auto mocha emergency?
It's a Frappuccino mocha with whip.
The espresso shakes are my most favorite because I can get any flavor. Peanut butter chocolate for pita.
Definitely the espresso shakes.
My favorite is the mocha for pitas.
A peach Red Bull.
Sitting pretty at 59 degrees, sunshine today, mid-80s, upper 80s, and into the 90s we go on Saturday. Quite windy Saturday afternoon and Saturday night. Much cooler temperatures on Sunday, and then we start warming up for next week. Typical July weather coming our way. 9 minutes after the hour, your headlines. Coronavirus infections continue to spread here in the Wenatchee Valley. Wednesday, the Chelan Douglas Health District said 7 residents at Cashmere Care Center tested positive. They're being kept in isolation there. On Thursday, 47 new cases reported in the 2 counties. Confluence Health Wenatchee says it's treating 18 patients hospitalized for the virus. Spokesman Andrew Canning says 5 of those patients are on ventilators. So the new cases amount to 264 over the last 2 weeks per 100,000, and that's far above the 25 per 100,000 level that the state wants to see before counties can begin reopening their economies. COVID-19 has killed 9 people from the Chelan and Douglas County area. Almost 1,400 people have died statewide, and over 134,000 people have died from COVID-19 in this country. Dr. Jason Lake takes over at the end of August as Confluence Health's Chief Medical Officer, replacing Dr. Stu Freed. Meanwhile, this steady drumbeat of COVID-19 marches on. Central Washington Hospital cared for 19 patients on Wednesday who were suffering from COVID-19. By Thursday, that number was down to 18, but Dr. Lake says the surge in infections is exactly what Confluence Health feared when the pandemic began back in March, and they hoped it wouldn't show up until later in the fall.
What we've noticed over the past several weeks is a steady increase in the number of COVID patients that we've seen, and we've noticed that really both on the outpatient world and in the inpatient world. We run our drive-through testing site down at the Emerson Street station, and when we were at a lull in COVID activity, the percentage of those tests that returned positive was about 2% or so, and we've seen a steady increase up to about 10% and sometimes as high as 15 or 16% positive results on a daily basis. So we're really seeing an increase in the percentage of positive tests that we've seen on the outpatient side of things. Unfortunately, we've also seen a similar increase in the number of COVID patients that we're taking care of in the hospital. And predominantly, these are patients from our primary 4-county area, Chelan, Douglas, Grant, and Okanagan counties. And as of yesterday, we had 19 patients in the hospital, but 7 of those patients were requiring care in the intensive care unit, and 4 of those patients were on ventilators. So it's obviously requiring a lot of hospital resources, again, as the number of COVID patients we're taking care of in the hospital is increasing. So it's a concerning trend that we're seeing a rise in COVID cases throughout our region, and it's becoming increasingly taxing on our healthcare system as well. I think if things continue on the trajectory that they are now, it's very likely that we're going to have to reduce some of the procedural or surgical services that we provide. My hope, and the hope of everyone here, is that we don't have to decrease it to the point that we did in March and April, but we probably will have to decrease it to some extent. You know, we do have a limited number of staffing and resources, and the fact of the matter is, if the number of COVID patients we have require more of those staff and resources to care for them, it just leaves less to care for other people. And as much as we don't want to decrease routine or elective care, we may well have to do that if this trend continues. We have our kind of contingency plan right now capable of going up to an ICU capacity of about 25. So 25 people potentially requiring ventilator support. So it would be, quite frankly, a challenge to staff all of those 25 beds. So if we ever got to a level that required that, we would have to significantly draw down some of the other services that we provide. We hope we don't get there, but that's kind of our maximum number that we plan on. I think it's important to remember what we can all do to try to prevent this spread of this virus. It's very easy for us to let our guard down as the community starts opening up again, but I think it's really important not to let our guard down right now. We have to continue being vigilant about wearing masks. You know, wearing a mask, if I have COVID and don't know it because I don't really have symptoms, the likelihood that I pass that virus to someone else probably decreases by about 90% if I'm wearing a mask. Conversely, if I'm wearing a mask and someone else is sick around me, it probably decreases my chance of catching it about 20%. So I think we have enough data, clear data at this point to say masking helps. So I think having everyone in the community continue to be vigilant about masking is really important. I think social distancing is also very important, and we should continue to do that.
The COVID-19 crisis has made a lot of us do stuff online that we'd rather do in person, and that goes for political forums as well. On Wednesday night, the Twisp Valley Grange in Okanagan County hosted its first remote candidates forum in the 12th District legislative race. Incumbent first-term Republican Keith Gaynor faces Democratic challenger Adrian Moore in that contest. Here's some of what they had to say.
No, I think it's clear I'm not a career politician. My work has always been in the community, working with people and families. But that's often meant that I had to work at a regional or a state level, working on policy and budget and legislation around youth homelessness or healthcare or fixing our broken social safety net. And I've done that work. I've been good at that work because of the experiences I've had, because of the work that I've done. And in the last 12 years, I've helped build a critical social and health services organization in our region. And after the 2014-15 wildfires, I helped stand up fire recovery efforts. And I brought in critical dollars. I helped change legislation so we were better prepared for the next disaster. But I also made sure that every person up every creek had access to the resources that they needed to recover. And I know from my own experience, from my lived experience, and from the work that I've done, how hard it is to make it in North Central Washington. So unless we change something now, it's only going to get harder and harder. And I think the thing that's most important right now is that we don't have a seat at the decision-making table in Olympia. The State House, the Senate, the governor's seat are all held by Democrats, which means that we don't have someone who's able to advocate at the decision-making table in Olympia. And right now, the risks are too high. We need somebody who's able to be there fighting for the needs of our community.
My definition of leadership would be saying someone who really has a heart for service. If you're going to be a strong leader in a community, you have to be able to put the interests of others above your own, but yet you see the bigger picture, you understand the complexities of the situation. You have strong principles, good, sound, solid principles, but you're very flexible in incorporating other viewpoints. And then, of course, I spent the bulk of my life here in the community in different types of service involvement, and all of those things have been very helpful to shape my leadership style. At the county commission level, I was a commissioner for many years, and we had a number of things that really challenged us. It's not easy to just make decisions and just let things go, because every decision you make it affects the very people that you're in contact with on a daily basis. I believe that if you realize that in this case where the best government is the one that's closest to the people, your definition and your interpretation will be shaped by your concern for your fellow neighbors and community members. And really, I think that's to me, that's probably the most important thing, is that you realize that you are a representative, but you have to keep in mind that you're representing the whole district. And we do in the 12th district have a wide variety of interests, and they need a strong voice to represent the different aspects.
You can view the full candidates forum by going to the YouTube link that you saw on the screen, or you can go to the Okanagan or the Twisp Valley Facebook page as well, the Grange Facebook page. The debate also featured the candidates for the Okanagan County Commissioner. Don't forget, primary election day, Tuesday, August 4th. A decomposed human body was found Wednesday night on the banks of the Okanagan River just south of Tenasket. The Okanagan County Sheriff's Office said at 8:16 in the evening they received a report that someone had found the body near the intersection of Indian Springs Road and Highway 7. That's about 3 miles south of Tenasket. The body had apparently been in the water and became visible as the water receded. Now, because of the exposure to the water and the state of decomposition, the deputies have not yet been able to identify the person. The Okanagan County Coroner's Office is working to help determine the cause of the death and the identity. Firefighters from Winthrop and Twisp were able to get quick control of a 2-acre brush fire outside of Winthrop. This happened Wednesday night. The fire at 99 Horizon Flats Road broke out about 8 o'clock in grass and brush. No structures were threatened. The cause of the fire is under investigation. A hiker exploring Birch Mountain over the 4th of July weekend discovered a rather disturbing symbol, a noose tied to a tree branch with scattered graffiti that seemed to indicate white power. The hiker photographed the noose and then cut it down, said he'd reported the discovery to the Chelan County authorities. Nationally, there's been many new reports of nooses tied in trees since large-scale Black Lives Matter demonstrations began in May. Parking continues to be a problem for the throngs of people visiting the Alpine Lakes Wilderness area outside of Leavenworth, but the Forest Service says most people are obeying the rules. Ahead of the 4th of July weekend, new parking rules were implemented that allowed parking only on the right side of the road for people heading up to 8 Mile, Stewart, and Kulchuk Lakes. And over the weekend, rangers were out patrolling the Stewart Lake parking lot and counted 349 cars on the correct side of the road. They did issue several tickets for people without parking passes, however. The Forest Service says weekends have been so busy, trailhead parking lots are usually full by 7 in the morning. The first major remodel of the Wenatchee Public Library in its 60-year history almost done. Once it's done, the main library at 310 Douglas Street will have new shelving, improved lighting, updated technology, a centralized information desk, community spaces, a private meeting and study area, and new bathrooms. The project started in the spring of 2019 and completion was delayed by a couple of months by the COVID-19 pandemic. It's largely been funded by $1.5 million in donations raised by the Friends of the Wenatchee Public Library. Unfortunately, of course, the updated building won't be able to open until phase 3 of the state's 4-phase recovery plan. And finally, Grant County Sheriff Tom Jones has a new place at the table with state law enforcement leadership. He was elected sheriff at large with the executive board of the Washington Association of Sheriffs and Police Chiefs. It's WASPC. It's the main organization serving police agencies across the state. Tom Jones has been the Grant County Sheriff since 2011. He was elected to the 14-member board on June 23rd. Congratulations to Sheriff Jones. 22 minutes after the hour. Grant was off yesterday. Jefferson Robbins came in and did the news, and we appreciate it. Grant is back today, but to preview the news, Jefferson still gets to do the honors there.
Good morning, Dan. Filling in here for Grant Olson. He wanted me to let you know that he will be here delivering your NCW Live evening news tonight, along with your weather forecast. I understand you, Dan, will be back handling sports once again. The stories we're looking at tonight include a young man who made threats against Washington sheriffs. He's back in court in the Eastern District of U.S. District Court in Spokane. That and more coming up tonight at 5, 6, and 10 on the NCW Live Evening News. Hope to see you then. Don't forget your mask.
Thank you very much, Jefferson. I shall not. Get a hold of us if you want to. Drop us a note. Submit a news tip. Go to our Facebook page and then go to Facebook Messenger and type us out a note. We'll get it here. You can email us directly, news@ncwlife.com, news@ncwlife.com, or you can go to our website, ncwlife.com, and click the Contact Us icon. Drop us a note that way. Going to take a break. When we come back, sports. It's not a matter of what games are going on, it's what games aren't going on. Those details are coming up. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
If you're looking for a special evening on a Friday night, come to Siren Song Winery and Restaurant on the South Shore of Lake Chelan. You'll enjoy dinner, live music, and a view of Lake Chelan all summer long during our Friday night concert series. We offer guests dinner and a show featuring a fantastic lineup of national artists and a special dinner menu paired with Siren Song wines. Space is limited and reservations required. For a list of artists and to reserve your spot for Music Under the Stars, visit SirenSongWines.com.
Contractors, furniture makers, and weekend do-it-yourselfers around North Central Washington will tell you that Lombard's Hardwood Supply is the place to get what you need. Lombard's full millwork shop can handle jobs large or small. Lombard's has a full line of interior and exterior doors available, as well as custom barn doors. From alderwood to zebrawood and everything in between, it's Lombard's Hardwood Supply on School Street in Sunny Slope. Like us on Facebook and check out our monthly special.
Back at it at 24 minutes after the hour. Sports, the Big Ten announcing yesterday that fall sports teams, including football, will play only conference opponents. The Big Ten is the first of the Power 5 conferences to announce an adjustment to its college football season because of the coronavirus pandemic. The Ivy League, of course, announced Wednesday that it will not hold sports during the fall semester, becoming the first Division I conference to suspend its football season this year. The Big Ten said in a statement that the conference is, and I'm quoting now, also prepared not to play in order to ensure the health, safety, and wellness of our student athletes should the circumstances so dictate, end quote. The Big Ten's decision affects men's and women's soccer as well, not to mention volleyball, men's and women's cross country, field hockey. Now, decisions about other sports will continue to be evaluated. Big Ten football programs, just like the Pac-12, play 9 conference games and 3 non-conference games. So the ramifications of this decision is going to stretch across the college football landscape. Other conferences may very well follow suit. If not, the other schools previously planning to play Big Ten opponents are going to have to adjust their schedules or play fewer games. Some Big Ten programs were scheduled to face fellow Power 5 schools during their non-conference slates. Now it's not going to happen. Among the matchups that aren't going to happen, Michigan at Washington on September 5th, Ohio State at Oregon, and Penn State at Virginia Tech on September 12th, and Notre Dame against Wisconsin at Lambeau Field in Green Bay on October 3rd. This is obviously a developing story. We'll see if the other 4 conferences that make up the Power 5 chime in. Once again, a friendly reminder, our cameras are going to be at the Wenatchee Valley Super Oval tomorrow night.
Green flag in the air. We're racing for the Dixie and Air Conditioning Thunder Cars on Dixie and Air Conditioning night.
35-lap main event for the Thunder Cars here this evening.
A little bit of a bump already out of Cameron Doyle in the 71 to the back of Carl Brandt. A couple former Roadrunner drivers in the field.
Yeah, tomorrow night we will be there broadcasting live on the NCAA Live channel. The Thunder Cars and Pro Late models will be racing. It's North Valley Mechanical night. In fact, it's a full slate. They'll be joined by the Mountain Dew Junior Late models, the Plum Perfect Road Runners, the Northwest Vintage Modifieds, and the Dwarf Cars. And once again this weekend, nobody will be allowed in the grandstands because of COVID-19 restrictions, and that means next Saturday, July 18th, we'll be back at it again for Thunder in the Valley night, with racing by the Economy Midgets, Northwest Focus Midget Series, the Granite Super Sprints, the Speed Tour Super Sprints, the Northwest Mini Stock Tour, and the West Coast Vintage Racers. And there's one last item of sports I wanted to get to. This was something that just came down about an hour ago. The Northwest Athletic Conference, that's the conference of all the local community colleges in the state of Washington, Idaho, and British Columbia. Wenatchee Valley College is a member of the NWAC. They announced that it will be pushing fall and winter sports to the spring semester due to the coronavirus concerns. There are 36 member schools in the NWAC, again, including Wenatchee Valley College. Wenatchee Valley College has men's and women's soccer in the fall and men's and women's basketball in the winter. Those sports will now be moved to the winter and the spring. So no men's and women's soccer for Wenatchee Valley College, at least as scheduled. We'll have more on this, by the way, tonight at 5 o'clock. And those are just some of the games that people are playing at 28 minutes after the hour. July the 10th, the obscure holiday. It's a sweet rum-based cocktail. You throw a little cream of coconut, a little pineapple juice. You blend it or shake it with ice, and you got yourself a pina colada. Pina colada actually means strained pineapple, which is the main ingredient outside of rum. Coconuts didn't really become part of the pina colada until much, much later. Where did the pina colada comes from? Nobody really knows. They say it was invented in San Juan, Puerto Rico in 1952. Two different bars say they claim to have invented the pina colada. Both of them are sticking to their story. It's too convoluted. I don't want to get in there. Of course, we always associate pina coladas with ocean breezes and sandy beaches and sunny, warm weather, vacation, all that kind of stuff. Enjoy all things pina colada. That looks good. Not yet. I got work to do. 29 minutes after the hour today in history. Happy birthday, Wyoming. There's the Wyoming state flag. It was on this date in 1890. 130 years ago, that Wyoming was admitted to the Union as the 44th state. It's known as the Cowboy State and the Equality State, and we'll get to that in just a little bit. The state song of Wyoming is a song called Wyoming. Could have done better than that. Wyoming is the least populated state in the nation. 586,107 people call Wyoming home. The largest metropolitan statistical area in Wyoming, the MSA, is the Greater Cheyenne area. They have about 99,000 people who live in the Greater Cheyenne area. By comparison, the Wenatchee metropolitan statistical area is 110,884. So if we took the Wenatchee metropolitan statistical area and we moved it to Wyoming, we'd be the biggest town in the whole state, believe it or not. It's called the Equality State because it was the first state to grant women the right to vote. They did that in 1869, which was 21 years before it even became a state. Other fun facts about Wyoming. There are only 2 escalators in the entire state. And they're both in Casper, Wyoming. And Wyoming didn't raise the legal drinking age from 18 to 21 until 1988. They were the last state in the union to do that. Happy birthday, Wyoming, 130 years old today. July 10th, 1913, 107 years ago, we talked about how hot it's been in Phoenix lately. The temperature in Death Valley on this date in 1913 hit 134 degrees Fahrenheit. That is the highest temperature ever to be recorded on Earth. And they measure the temperature in the shade. Can you imagine what it was like out in the sun? 134 degrees. Death Valley is almost always, every day, the hottest spot in the United States. And they do, the National Weather Service does, the coldest temperature of the continuous states and the hottest temperature. They simply don't even talk about Death Valley because it's always the hottest place on this country. They just omit Death Valley as a matter of course because 300 days out of the year is always the hottest place in the United States. July 10th, 1925. 95 years ago today, Meher Baba spoke his last words. He wasn't dying. He didn't die for 44 more years. His final words were, "Don't worry, be happy." July 10th, 1925, and then he didn't speak again for the remainder of his life, 44 years. If you're a follower of Meher Baba, you observe Silence Day today in commemoration of this. You don't talk. Happened on this date in 1925. And a remarkable baseball game. It's just incredible. It was the final, stay with me on this. This was 88 years ago, back in 1932, July 10th. The final game of a 3-game series between the Athletics and the Cleveland Indians. The first 2 games were played in Philadelphia on Friday and Saturday. But in 1932, in Philadelphia, you could not play professional baseball on a Sunday. So after the Saturday game, the Indians and the A's took a train to Cleveland to play the Sunday afternoon contest. And the owner of the Athletics, Connie Mack, wanted to save money on the train fare, so he only brought along 2 pitchers for the one game, the starting pitcher and the relief pitcher. The starting pitcher, Lou Krause, the relief pitcher, Eddie Rommel. Those are the only 2 pitchers who traveled from Philadelphia to Cleveland. Well, after allowing 3 Cleveland runs in the first inning, Eddie Rommel came in to replace Lou Krause. He then pitched in relief the next 17 innings. He gave up 14 runs and 29 hits, both all-time records. He won the game 18-17, the greatest relief pitching performance of all time. Can you imagine that? Eddie, you're in for Lou. And by the way, the game's going to go a long, long time. His arm must have just fell off at the end of that. Greatest relief pitching performance ever. 33 minutes after the hour. Birthdays. The guy who invented AC, alternating current. Can you invent alternating current, or do you discover it? I think he invented it, really. The practical application of it, anyway. Nikola Tesla. You may have heard of this guy. He was born in the state in 1856, died in 1943 at the age of 86. Like most super geniuses, he was kind of eccentric. There's a fascinating biography on Nikola Tesla. I'd highly recommend it. The guy who made AC work, anyway. David Brinkley was born 100 years ago today. David Brinkley, my favorite broadcast journalist by far. Walter Cronkite, fine. But growing up, David Brinkley was the man. The Huntley Brinkley Report was by far the highest rated nightly newscast for almost his entire existence between 1956 and 1970. Then he was This Week with David Brinkley. He won 10 Emmy Awards and the Presidential Medal of Freedom, David Brinkley's centennial. And they're celebrating, by the way, in Wilmington, North Carolina, his hometown. He was born 100 years ago today. Born 99 years ago today, she died 10 years ago at the age of 88, Eunice Kennedy Shriver. She was the 5th of the 9 Kennedy children, and she was the co-founder of the Special Olympics. Her sister Rosemary was mentally retarded. She took that to heart, and Eunice Kennedy Shriver, one of the 9 Kennedy kids born in the state in 1921. Urban Meyer is 56 years old today. He's one of only 3 coaches to win more than one national championship at 2 different schools. The others are Pop Warner and Nick Saban. Urban Meyer is 56 years old today. And Sofia Vergara is 48 years old today. Of course, a native of Colombia, lived in this country for quite some time, played Gloria Delgado Pritchett on the recently wrapped up Modern Family, and she makes a lot of money. Last I checked, She made $43 million in salary and endorsements last year. I don't have an endorsement deal. Probably a good idea. Gonna take a break. When we come back, a brand new opinion from Mike Mad Dog McNaughty, and then we're gonna replay the interview I did with Dr. Stu Freed, who is the Chief Medical Officer for Confluence Health. You may have gotten a flyer in the mail asking you to come down and be voluntarily tested for COVID-19. Dr. Stu is gonna give us the information you need when we come back. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Live channel.
You don't have to be a member to enjoy the view and dine-in style at Highlander Bar and Grill in East Wenatchee. Open 7 days a week, Highlander Grill offers breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Dine in or take it to go, our friendly staff is here to serve you. Reservations recommended for Friday night's prime rib dinner. Call for live music dates. Hi, I'm Shalane, site coordinator for Highlander Grill. Give me a call to schedule your event today.
I work in healthcare, and we give all of our employees free Works memberships. Why? Because health is important to us. And when people are healthier, they're better at their jobs, but they're also better at life. And that's who we are, and that's who Works is. Works is not just a gym. It's a place, it's an organization that actually celebrates health.
Green Motion e-bikes have rolled into Wenatchee. We've got fun, affordable e-bikes for the whole family. Portable e-bikes that fit right in the trunk of your car. Fat tire mountain bikes plus unique vintage style bikes you won't find anywhere else. Get some exercise with pedal assist or just cruise up to 20 miles per hour with the throttle. Starting under $1,000, Green Motion e-bikes are affordable fun for the whole family. Green Motion e-bikes is located right downtown on the corner of Palouse and Wenatchee Avenue.
When you call Dick's Heating and Air Conditioning, you get 35 years of experience and customer service in the Wenatchee Valley. Dick's friendly staff strongly believe in repairing before replacing and service all major brands of HVAC units. Dick's Heating and Air Conditioning is your local, independent, trained comfort specialists, proudly serving all of North Central Washington. Call 884-6444 today.
No calories, no sweeteners, all smiles. Bubbly, sparkling water. Crack a smile.
Hey, this is Mike Mad Dog McNaughty, and everybody's entitled to my opinion. Now, during this coronavirus thing, many churches canceled in-person services, and they went online instead. Now, there were some, though, who claimed they would not stop meeting together, that God would protect them, yada, yada. This, of course, sent Facebook pundits crazy, basically throwing all Christians into the same category as mindless boobs. Well, the fact is, most of us do not believe that praying to God is some kind of magic trick. If Jesus were here, he'd probably tell us to wash our hands, be careful about who we're being exposed to, who might be infected. And oh yeah, he'd also tell you to stop hoarding toilet paper. This is Mike Mad Dog McNaughty, and that's my opinion.
So Pam, how's your mom doing?
She's okay. She's struggling. She'd like to stay in her house, and it's getting harder for her to do the daily chores.
What kinds of problems is she having?
Just basic house cleaning, you know, taking care of her house, yard work, taking care of her medicine.
Mm-hmm. It does sound exhausting.
It is very exhausting, and I always worry about her.
Aging and Adult Care can assist you or your loved one to remain comfortably and safely in their own home. Contact them today to start the conversation.
This hasn't been easy for any of us, and we don't know all that lies ahead. But as local business owners, we can't wait to welcome you back. So as we reopen, we'll be wearing masks. We all have different opinions about them, but standing with your neighbor sometimes means standing in the uncomfortable. And you can stand with us by wearing a mask when you visit.
Hey folks, Carrie from Blueberry Hills in Manson, where we've got huge news. We've started our Blueberry U-Pick. It's a great time to toss the family in the car and get on out to Blueberry Hills, where you can get the best down-home scratch country cooking around and pick some of the world's most delicious and largest blueberries that have been high desert farmed. This makes for an intense blueberry flavor, and they are so much fun to pick. Our fields are open 8 to 2:30 daily and restaurant from 8 to 3, so come on out and join us.
Welcome back to Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. I am Dan Kuntz. Traditionally around here, about once a month, somebody from Confluence Health comes down and pays us a visit to get us the latest news in the ever-widening world of healthcare. We haven't had a chance to do that for a while for obvious reasons. Confluence Health has been busy, for lack of a better term, but we have an opportunity to talk to one of the leaders of Confluence Health. He is the Chief Medical Director. Dr. Stu Freed is my guest this morning. As you can tell, we're practicing safe social distancing because we're in our studio, which is a lot smaller than it looks on TV. Dr. Freed, it's good to see you.
Great to see you, Dan.
We have a lot to talk about. We have a lot of catching up to do. But first things first, we'll be rolling out a series of PSAs that were produced by Vortex Productions, and you were one of them, encouraging the local populace to get tested, to go ahead and even if you don't feel like you have COVID or you're at risk or anything like that, go ahead and get tested. The reasoning behind that is what, Doc?
Well, it's really to help our local economy and businesses be open and stay open. And we really are making an assumption that I think is a correct assumption, that the actual prevalence or amount of viral activity in our community is actually low. We always talk about the positives, and we always worry about that, which is appropriate for us in healthcare. But what we're really seeing in the people we're testing now before surgeries and procedures is that not very many of those folks who we're testing everyone that's coming in, not very many of those people are positive. So that's giving us the impression, and that's a few hundred a week that we're testing, that the actual amount of viral activity in the region is low. If we know what that number is, if we can kind of validate that assumption, then we can use the ongoing testing we do with pre-surgery or pre-procedure testing as kind of a barometer to let our community and business leaders know how we should adjust our economy going forward. Because I want to take this opportunity to right now applaud and thank our community. They've really stepped up in many ways. I mean, I know this whole thing is a polarizing event for our nation, but frankly, in our valley, the reason we've had a relatively good experience is because of the citizens here. I mean, I'm extremely proud of the healthcare workers here, but our citizens, our community has really done the right thing to a great degree. We've socially distanced. We're trying hard. I see local businesses now trying really hard to do the right thing with cleaning and masking and trying to keep each other safe. We've also had a tremendous outpouring of support from our community to us. I mean, I don't know how many thousand volunteer masks we've had made and sewn, including gowns, how many meals we've had donated to our nurses and docs in the hospital. So I think that the reason this viral activity is low right now is because of the good habits that we're learning, and we want to keep promoting that. But this community testing will help prove that point and help keep driving this good behaviors, because this virus isn't gone. It's not going anywhere for a while, and so we're needing to learn to live with it so that we can keep our businesses open, to keep each other safe, because this is really about how we treat one another. That's what these masks are about. And how we treat each other is going to be how we succeed as a local economy and create almost a brand of safety and security for the Wenatchee Valley, the greater Wenatchee Valley, to send out as a message to the rest of the state. And I think that's just good for everybody.
The latest poll I saw was I think a little over 60%, 61, 62% of those people surveyed in a scientific poll said they're willing to do whatever it takes to continue to make progress and fight the COVID-19, whether that means social distancing, whether that
Right.
means wearing a mask, whether that means constantly washing your hands. It's encouraging. I'd like to have it closer to 80 or 90,
Sure.
as you do as well, but people understand the gravity of the situation, don't they?
They really do. And I think when push comes to shove, I suspect that number is higher when the illness touches their lives a little closer, a friend, a family member, etc. But I'm really encouraged by what I see and what I hear from folks.
The testing, how does that work? I'm willing to go ahead and be swabbed. How does that work, Dr. Freed? Walk me through that.
Right. What we're looking for right now is we're working through a method of getting random names and addresses of our community so that we do a scientific sampling of the region, including out to Lake Chelan and Leavenworth, Kashmir. And then we'll be sending invitations in the mail or stuffing mailboxes, essentially, with an invitation both in English and Spanish to community members to come into a local testing site and be tested. A completely confidential testing. It's also free. Our excellent health department is picking up the tab on this. And then our organization, along with Columbia Valley Community Health, in collaboration with Cascade Medical Center, Leavenworth, and Lake Chelan Community Hospital, are kind of helping with the manpower and the organization. So this is really a collaborative effort, but we're not putting any of that burden on our citizens. All we need is a bit of their nose and a slight bit of discomfort to be tested. And then we would communicate the results. Those results are private, they're confidential, and then we communicate the results back to them.
And I know we haven't touched on this in a long time since the peak of this pandemic, which is basically March into early April. Numbers have gone down pretty consistently. We're hoping to move from 1.5 to farther down the road. Nobody wants to take a step backwards on this whole process. We want to keep going forward as we gradually reopen our state and our economy. But for those people who say, Dr. Freed, I think I may have something. I think that there are certain protocols that people need to follow, right?
Right. Well, if you feel ill, stay home. Don't come to work. Don't expose others, even if you're even a little bit suspicious. By all means, get tested. We have. I would say I'm a little cautious to say plenty of testing, but we have enough testing to test you now. Call the COVID hotline, and we'll give you guidance about where to go and what to do. But very likely, at this point, we will ask you to come in and be tested so that you know what to do and how to advise your loved ones and your work colleagues, because they need to know too. The vast majority of people that do contract this virus do perfectly fine. It's a nuisance, but they do fine. But you still need to know, because it's really a matter of how do I then protect others. But first things first, stay at home, don't expose others, call the COVID hotline, and we'll instruct you on how to be tested.
How's your staff handling all this? As the chief medical director, you're one of the overseers of the actual physicians associated with Confluence Health. Since this whole thing took off in February into March, how's your staff handling all this?
Oh my gosh. I mean, when you're in a position like mine, or Pete Rutherford's, or Jason Lake, or any of the leaders, the most you can hope for is have a team that comes together. This is well beyond that. There's hundreds of stories I could tell you about people going above and beyond, but by and large, I couldn't be prouder of the staff. People step up, not only with their ability, their technical ability, but with their compassion and their heart for their patients, their community, and their colleagues. People doing extra shifts, people doing jobs that they don't normally do because we needed them to. Things have gotten a bit back to normal now, normal in quotation marks because it's a new normal, but we're really encouraging patients to come back in, because we did see for some time, and we still do see patients avoiding coming to the doctor or coming to the hospital, even if they have sometimes even life-threatening symptoms, which is a tragedy. That's, coronavirus isn't the only thing that can make you sick, and so we're really encouraging people, if you need to come to the doctor, come to the doctor. We've really stepped up on how we make both the clinic and the hospital environment safe in terms of social distancing in our waiting rooms, having masks for everybody in the clinic and the hospital, and in cleaning. Very stringent cleaning process of workspaces and exam room spaces. So, and that's a work in progress that will be ongoing as the science keeps evolving. But I would encourage people now, it is safe to come in and be seen by the doctor, much safer than avoiding what might be a very dangerous problem.
Which brings up a second point. What is the protocol for people who want to go to Confluence Health because they want to see grandma who had a hip replacement or my sister had a baby?
Right.
I'm not there to be treated or see a physician. I just want to go see somebody who is admitted to the hospital. What are the protocols on that?
So we modified our visiting protocols. So they were very stringent before. We were allowing very, very few visitors in because of, frankly, the unknown about this virus. Now we're restricting visitors to how many. We keep it down to 1 to 2, and we try to keep it to either close family members or very important support people. And then we have you mask up and be socially distanced, and it's appropriate. So, but you check in, and then I think we're going to a banded system so we know who can come in and who should be there, so that we have some control over how many visitors come through the hospital. Keep everyone safe.
Keep everyone safe, indeed, and that's really the key. So for those, for just John Q. public people like me, I feel fine. I don't have any COVID symptoms, that kind of stuff. But I still want to help. How can I help Confluence Health make progress? I'm not an epidemiologist. I don't know anything about infectious diseases or public health. But how can I help? How can I help? From a general standpoint.
No, that's a great question, Dan. And I think some of what we do to help the most is how we behave in our own lives, how we demonstrate good behavior, safe behaviors, just when we go to the grocery store, whether or not we wear a mask, whether or not we help out, because all of us have people in our lives that may be at higher risk, offering to get groceries for them in a safe and appropriate way. This is going to go on for a while. So there's going to be a time where it really gets hard for those folks to stay at home. So reaching out to those folks in your life that are at higher risk to see if they need some company, but in a safe manner. If they need some help getting groceries, if they need some help with house cleaning. Again, you have to wear a mask. You have to figure out a way that you do this safely. And when we come to work, making sure that our habits are demonstrating what's safe, and so that we're really a role model for the other people in our lives. I think that's the best way we can help out is how we live our lives, and how we do that not through what we say, but how we act.
Amen to that, Dr. Stuart Freed. While I have you here, anything else that's on your mind? This is a rare treat for me, for somebody who's supposed to be retiring in the not too distant future. What else is on your mind, Stu, while I have you here? Anything else?
No, I thought that the main thing I wanted to get out, other than the questions you had, was I already said, which was really a big shout out and thank you to this community for all the support you've shown Confluence Health and our staff, and to really, we're doing okay, but let's don't take our eye off the ball. Don't take your foot off the gas. Let's keep it up. And as we get this economy up and going, we're going to get to 2.0, and I think we'll get to 3.0. But as we do that, don't lose sight of what got us there. Don't lose attention to this. Let's keep it going, keep it safe, and we'll do great. And because this is a community that is as good as it is because we do take care of one another, and we're better together because of that.
And keep in mind, if you need help, get it. Be it I don't feel well, or I'm going to go ahead and I'd be more than happy to get tested. Even from a psychological standpoint, this has been very stressful between the ears for a lot of people.
Yeah, and for people who really are anxious about coming in, and that's understandable, about 20 to 25% of all of our clinic visits now are done via video, and that's going great. I'm working on becoming you in the future. I feel like that's what I do on Fridays. I'm a TV host with my patients, but that's working quite nicely for the most part. And so there's that option for people too. So by all means, if you feel like you need to talk to your doctor, give us a call. And we know we've not been perfect at that over the last few months because we didn't know quite what to do either. but we've really tried to open up that spigot. So
it's amazing how much has changed from February to March when there was so much unknowns. Now here we are into June. There's a lot more knowns, and I think there's a little bit more of a I don't want to say a sense of relief, but I'm trying to think of any other word, that we're making progress. We're gonna get there, but we got to be patient and we got to keep doing the right thing.
Right.
That's it.
The more we can use this, the more we know, and the more we think about it, the more confident we'll be in the path we chart to go forward. So let's keep using our heads and work together, and we'll be okay. We'll get through this.
Dr. Stu Fried is the Chief Medical Director of Confluence Health. Say hi to Sally and the family and everybody.
I will, Dan.
And don't be a stranger. Come back and see me anytime, all right?
I'll be happy to.
All right. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. We'll be right back.
Thanks a lot.
Join us for Street Talk and Other Stuff with Mike Magnotti on the NCW Life channel. This former police sergeant is plugged into not only the world of the streets, he's an actor and connoisseur of the arts. So join Mike and his guest for, well, Street Talk and Other Stuff. Mondays at 10 a.m., Tuesdays and Thursdays at 2 p.m., and Wednesdays at 5:30. It's Street Talk and Other Stuff with Mike Magnotti on the NCW Life channel.
As you all know, our community is suffering under the weight of this global pandemic.
We are collaborating with regional healthcare providers and community leaders to collect accurate information on the number of COVID-19 infections in our region in order to meet the requirements for reopening.
To collect this information, we need community members to volunteer to be tested for COVID-19.
Data from these tests are vital to getting our region's businesses open again and helping us manage future spikes in infection, protecting our community members while also keeping the economy open.
Testing is voluntary and results are completely confidential. Look for more information about this testing in your mailbox.
We value your individual health and the health of our communities. Thank you for doing your part to keep us healthy and resilient.
The Meat Shop in Chelan has all the meats, homemade side dishes, sauces, and rubs you need for a summer feast. The Meat Shop opens 6 days a week to serve you in downtown Chelan.
More than a health food store, it's your good food store. Bear Foods and Cafe Creperie, a feast for the eyes and the palate.
For the Chelan Valley's most unique tasting experience, visit One Wines, a true boutique winery producing only one white, one rosé, and one red with a rare exceptional vintage. Limited to 800 cases per year. Visit One Wines today.
Bring the whole family up to Stormy Mountain Brewing and local public house in historic downtown Chelan. Applewood smoked brisket, street-style tacos, and our award-winning barbecue rubs and sauces. Our meals pair perfectly with our exciting lineup of craft ales, made right here in Chelan. We've got room for big groups, or give us a call for catering. So grab the kids and check out the fun at Stormy Mountain Brewing and local public house located in the heart of Chelan.
And we are back on this Friday. Yeah, one more time. Let's take a look at that weather forecast from the National Weather Service. You want sunshine and warm temperatures and a light breeze? You're going to get it today. It's just about as perfect as we can ask for. High of about 88 degrees, 60 for the overnight low tonight. Lots of sunshine Saturday. We're keeping a very close eye on the wind starting Saturday afternoon about 5-ish or so. The winds will be picking up. It'll be about 20 miles an hour with gusts above 35 miles an hour. And it's going to last from 5 Saturday afternoon, really right through the the wee small hours of Sunday morning. And the reason it's going to be so much warmer tomorrow, believe it or not, this is warm air from the desert southwest. It's kind of nudging its way northwards towards us. Can't get away from the heat from Phoenix. It's coming up to pay us a visit. Big cool down Sunday, on overnight Saturday night into Sunday as the winds die down. A cold front comes in. No rain really associated with the cold front, but it's going to cool us down quite a bit. A good 12-degree difference, as you can see, between the high on Saturday and Sunday. Then we start warming up with quite a bit of warm weather expected almost all of next week. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you Monday. Take care. Bye-bye.